Hello guys and welcome to Watch Crew. Oris is a Swiss luxury watchmaker known for its functional and stylish, high-quality timepieces. While Oris is considered a budget brand, in contrast to Rolex and Omega, the watchmaker has been creating exceptional timepieces for over a century. Whether you're a collector, an adventurer, or simply looking for a high-quality timepiece that you can rely on, there is an Oris watch that will meet your needs. Join us as we discover some of the best Oris watches available today and find out why they are considered some of the finest watches in the world. The Oris Big Crown ProPilot Date is a well-regarded pilot watch produced by Oris. The Big Crown ProPilot Date is celebrated for its robust design, legible dial, and practical features suitable for aviators and watch enthusiasts alike. I measured the case to be 40.5 mm in diameter, 48 mm from lug to lug width, and 12.15 mm tall. As you'd expect from an entirely utilitarian watch, it is entirely brushed with no polished accents. The case is actually my favorite aspect of this watch, and the only real reason to pick this watch over the dozens of other pilot watches in this category. The mid-case extends, tapers, and curves down into a pair of lugs that feel like a true extension of the case. I don't know much about sports cars, but these lugs feel like they belong on one. The build quality and finishing on the case is quite exceptional. True to the name, you have a very well-proportioned 6.5 mm signed screw-down crown that is extremely comfortable and easy to operate. The grip is excellent, and the crown has no wobble. Flipping it over, you have a screw-down caseback with an exhibition window. This watch is rated for up to 100 m of water resistance, which is good for a pilot watch. This watch uses a modified Calibre SW220-1 movement. I was surprised to see an SW220-1 in there instead of an SW200-1. But I suspect that they repurposed the same movement base from their version of the same watch. In conclusion, the Oris Big Crown ProPilot Date is a respected and versatile pilot watch designed for individuals who appreciate aviation-inspired timepieces with a strong emphasis on readability and functionality. The Oris Divers 65's most compelling feature is its vintage charm. At a glance, this looks like a vintage watch. In hand, this feels like a vintage watch. Sure, it's a modern watch built to modern standards, but there's a certain lo-fi quirkiness present which many will find endearing. My initial impressions were quite mixed on this particular watch, and we'll see why as we dive deeper into the details. Immediately clear, however, was how comfortable this 40mm Divers 65 wore on my 6.75 wrist. With 36mm and 42mm sizes also available, it should be a piece of cake for anyone to find a Divers 65 that fits well regardless of personal preference and wrist size. The Divers 65's case is one area in which this piece really shines. While the design and finishing of the case is rather simple on the surface, Oris did an outstanding job with proportions that yield real-world comfort. In a world of overly thick and bulky dive watches, Oris deserves high praise for such a low-slung profile. The mid-case gently arcs downward from its midpoint toward each lug tip, allowing the watch to conform nicely to the natural curvature of most wrists. Furthermore, the mid-case is remarkably thin for a dive watch, resulting in a piece that wears very flat to the wrist. The stainless steel bezel with black aluminum insert is fairly standard if not unremarkable. The grip offered by the bezel teeth is adequate even when wet, and the unidirectional 120-click action is relatively positive with marginal backplay. Under the solid caseback is Oris Calibre 733, which is Oris's name for the ubiquitous Calibre SW200 automatic movement fitted with the hallmark Oris red winding rotor. When considering the Divers 65 line, you'll need to carefully consider the experience you want with your watch. With the Divers 65, you're paying for a modern timepiece that has the look and feel of a vintage watch from an independent, historic Swiss brand. Rocking a big screw-down crown, polished sides, brushed lugs, and a classic thin coin-edge bezel, the Pointer Date is a reserved and almost timeless take on vintage-inspired. Despite the generally old-school bezel and dial style, the case shape and brushed finishing gives either size a defined sportiness that I really like. Both sizes can be had with a black dial or in a more interesting color inspired by Le Corbusier, a warm green for the 36mm and an excellent gray-blue for the 40mm. Both colors are distinctive, work beautifully with the steel case offering, and make for an entirely different feel when on wrist. I was floored by the blue dial version of the 40mm, The combination of the color and the way the light interacts with the bubble-domed sapphire crystal is beautiful and, to my eyes, makes the most of a very balanced and legible dial layout. Using an Oris-made module on a base Salita SW200-1, the pointer date has, time and a pointer date function that indicates the date via a fourth hand and a date scale surrounding the outer edge of the dial. The date hand is finished with a red tip for a small accent that aids in legibility when reading the otherwise thin handset. With cathedral-style hands for the hours and minutes, the hand sizing is perfect, with the needle tip of the minutes hand reaching to the outer edge of the dial. For a real everyday watch with excellent wrist presence, an interesting complication, and good value, I really like the pointer date collection. The blue dial on leather feels like the move, but both sizings feel great, and I love the distinctive use of color and the effortless blend of Oris's sporty know-how with an otherwise traditional motif. The ProPilot X Calibre 400 stands out for its unique design, advanced movement, and contemporary approach to pilot watch aesthetics. First, let's start with the case, which is difficult to discuss without also including the nice bracelet it comes on. The case measures in at a very wearable 39mm by 11.8mm with a modest lug-to-lug width of just under 47mm. The watch is manufactured out of a dark, almost smoky titanium material which presents an almost stealth jet vibe to the entire watch. Normally, I wouldn't be ecstatic about an entirely monochromatic watch, however, with the Oris ProPilot X Calibre 400, it just works really well. The model comes in 3 different dial colors: a bright salmon dial, a navy blue dial, and the gray dial. Of the 3, the gray dial is definitely the more utilitarian design that just screams Oris ProPilot X. There are a lot of stars of this show, but the one that stands out the most is hands down the Calibre 400 movement. The Calibre 400 has quickly become a staple for Oris. We first saw it in the wildly popular Aquis collection, followed shortly thereafter by the brand's All-Pilot X collection. Overall, the ProPilot X Calibre 400 seems like a logical progression for the brand. The original launch of the ProPilot predecessor came with a very niche appeal. It was 44mm, skeletonized, and particularly aggressive aesthetically. It wasn't a particularly easy watch to throw on, and while beautiful, took a hit when it came to practicality. The key to the Oris Hank Aaron limited edition's success starts with its light touch. Mechanically, this is more or less identical to the standard production Oris Big Crown pointer date, and this similarity begins with the 40mm wide stainless steel case. The long, gently tapering unchamfered lugs, slim polished case profile, and the distinctive narrow coin edge bezel are all Big Crown pointer date hallmarks, rendered here in fine fashion. It's a design that skirts the border between athleticism and classical refinement, with a vaguely pilotesque feel on the wrist undercut by the ornamental look of that polished bezel. In short, it's an easy case to wear for a variety of settings and a variety of wrists, and the brand's limited edition tweaks do nothing to change that. These tweaks are confined to the case back, where Oris adds a smooth, handsomely polished engraving of Hammerin, Hank Aaron himself midway through his distinctive cross-grip swing. Like the standard Big Crown pointer date, Oris rates the Hank Aaron limited edition for a somewhat light 50 meters of water resistance. While many specifically themed limited editions may struggle to connect with enthusiasts outside their niche, the new Oris Hank Aaron limited edition succeeds in creating something with truly broad appeal. A handsome, classically sporty riff on one of its core designs with a versatile, attractive colorway.